Well, hello and welcome to our
Hey.
first ever Feel Better session. I'm Nancy with Look Good, Feel Better, and I am delighted that you are joining us today as we browse through lunch or
Yes.
your coffee break, depending on what time zone you're in. Maybe it's
Yeah,
your cocktail break if you're overseas, right, Thérèse?
absolutely. Well, it's nearly 1 o'clock here because it's
It
like
is, right?
So
And it
yeah,
can be
but
1 o'clock
Thursday.
here too. I mean, we're working from home, right? So
Yeah.
anyhow, before we begin, let me just take a quick moment to introduce you to Look Good, Feel Better if you aren't familiar with us already. For more than 30 years, Look Good, Feel Better has provided free workshops to people with cancer to help them manage the appearance-related side effects from treatment. So our trained beauty professional volunteers provide fabulous lessons on skincare, nail care, cosmetics, wigs, turbans, and other head coverings, accessories, and styling too. So we always address almost so many different types of appearance-related side effects that can result from cancer. It's not only uplifting, but studies have shown that people who take and assert control over how they look and how they feel truly impacts their recovery and their mental health. So confidence and self-esteem truly do improve after Look Good, Feel Better workshops. It's amazing to witness. And a testament to all of this, really, today, Look Good, Feel Better now, like I said, over 30 years, now operates in over 27 countries. It isn't just happening here, it's everywhere. So we're all dealing with the same issues. Our program is open to all women facing all types of cancer and any kind of treatment you're undergoing. So if you or somebody you love, and let's face it, cancer touches us all at some part of our lives. So if they could benefit from attending a Look Good, Feel Better workshop, please pass the word, refer them to our website. We have wonderful resources, and they can sign up for an in-person or a virtual workshop. They can look up our schedule online. So while the pandemic, of course, has changed our lives in oh so many ways, there have been some gifts, and we pivoted from our live workshops to all virtual, and we expanded a lot of the content that we were delivering. So, but the coolest thing was that we are connecting so many isolated cancer patients and women through our virtual platform. And that experience then kind of inspired us for this new undertaking, our Feel Better sessions that you're going to witness today. And it really celebrates our Look Good, Feel Better month, all during the month of May. So we all know that we need a little hope and positivity right now. So that's what today and this whole month is all about, taking a little bit of time for ourselves, for everyone, and not just cancer patients. We all want to feel better. So a few quick housekeeping notes before we begin. If you haven't already, please consider joining our weekly raffle. We've got some fabulous prizes. If you make a small donation to help us keep Look Good, Feel Better going and to offer it to more women facing cancer, make a donation on the donation button on your screen, or you can also text at any point, Feel Good to 44321, and you should see that Chiron scrolling on your screen now. Don't forget to leave us your email, though, so we need to contact you if you do win, okay? This week's prizes are amazing prestige skincare kits valued at hundreds of dollars, and as well as 3 bonus prizes from our dear Thérèse, who is leading us today. Woohoo! So who's leading our session today. So that's really great. And also one more housekeeping too. We're going to have comments and questions in that comments area. So please, during the session, leave your fabulous questions. I'm sure you all have many of them. I know I do. So now it's my pleasure to welcome our special session host, a longtime Look Good, Feel Better volunteer in Ireland. We have talent all over the world. Thérèse O'Leary. She's the founder of Blinks and Brows to help us browse through lunch. Welcome, Thérèse.
Thank you, Nancy. Thank you for such a lovely intro. Yes, I'm Thérèse O'Leary, and I'm the founder of Blinks and Brows, which is an Irish cosmetics company. And I launched my first product called ID Brows back in October 2019. So my idea came from after my own sister went through cancer many years ago, and she went through hair loss literally within 3 weeks of being diagnosed of having cancer. So it led me on to doing the Look Good, Feel Better workshops, and there I discovered, eyebrows were such a big thing, and eyebrows really are very important on our face because they open our eyes, they shape our face, they, you know, finish off our makeup, give that kind of like finished look. And particularly for somebody when they're going through cancer and living with hair loss, having no eyebrows, a lot of women have said to me at workshops that they almost feel like that they've lost their identity in some shape or form, that they just don't recognize themselves, you know. So I really wanted to find a solution for that. And that's when I came up with the ID Brow Kit, which has an eyebrow tool of my own design that creates shapes and defines your brows. And you also have an eyebrow powder and the long-handled brush. So I'm going to do a demo as well to show how easy it is to use. And even though it was originally designed for women who lost their eyebrows due to chemotherapy, all women can use the ID Brow Kit to have the perfect brow in seconds. So yeah, so I have my brows done. I use it every day myself, right? So I'm going to take off one of my brows, and you need to take it off with an eye makeup remover because it's waterproof and it's mineral based. So it stays on all day and it's smudge proof. So I'm just going to remove it here, and you'll see the difference even in my brows. So any questions, just pop them in the comments box. Like you can see the difference between my brows. So literally it really gives a great shape and definition to your brow. So I'm just going to put my foundation brush over it a little bit. So in your kit, you have your eyebrow powder, and you have two colors. You've got a light brown and a dark brown. And as you can see, I've been using mine a lot. So you have a fold up brush, which is really cute. And you fold it out like that. And you have a spoolie on one end. So you just brush through the hairs. And then you get your ID Brow tool. You pick the shape that you want. And you line the arch of the tool to the arch of your brow. So it's literally like that. And you press it in because it's flexible at the top. And you go.
Yeah. Real quick question too. Since many of course, people in our audience won't have that tool, if they want to follow along with us today, a little bit later, we can show them how to replicate that a little bit, not as perfectly maybe, without your brow ID.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Or if they want to purchase the ID Brow Kit, I have my website launched. It's us.blinksandbrows.com. And if they use the discount code LOOKGOOD10, they'll get 10% off, and there's free shipping. So
wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah. So I'll just hold it up here now, and you can see how easy it is to use. So you brush against the growth and with the growth. And I'm going to make mine kind of dark so people can see the difference. And there you go. You have your brow literally in seconds.
Wow.
Yeah. So it just takes all the guesswork out. It takes all the measuring of the brow out. And you just get your short angled brush, and I literally just brush the powder through just to kind of get a softer finish on the brow. And the powder, like, you can make it as dark or as light as you want. So I made it quite dark now so people can actually see properly on the Facebook, and I've made it a bit thicker as well. So you can actually decide which shape that you want yourself. And the eyebrow tool is very light in weight as well. And it's in the shape of the pink ribbon upside down. So yeah. So yeah, so I mean, I suppose there was a few questions that came in. One of them was somebody said their brows were quite like short, and how do they make them longer? So what you can do is usually the way you measure your brow and where your brow should start to finish and have the arch in, you get a pen or, you know, a brush, a small little brush, and you go to the outside of the nostril and up. So that's where your brow should start. Okay. Then you want to figure out where your arch is. So you put like a little dot there with your pencil. Then you want to figure out where the arch is. So you go to the outside of the nostril, up through the iris of the eye, and that's where your arch should be. So put a little dot there, and then go to the outside of the nostril, out through the corner of your eye and up, and that's where your brow should finish. So if your brow finishes kind of up here, you just get your powder, your eyebrow powder, and just literally move it down a little bit. So the tail of the brow is very important, not to go too far down because that could be aging, believe it or not. So you literally make sure that it's just literally in line with the corner of your eye, like that. Okay. And then another question that came in was, what was the other question? I wrote them down because people were writing them in the comments box earlier. They've no arch on their brow. So if you want to create an arch on your brow, let's say if your brows are quite like straight across, which like we all have different shaped brows. No two eyebrows are the same, by the way. they're sisters, not twins. So sometimes you might have a higher arch in one brow than another. So what you do is you do your best eyebrow first, and you just literally copy that basically. So you get your angles brush, and you can literally go slightly above the arch that you have, and just bring a little powder up, and then just bring it down again. So it just gives a bit of a lift to your brow. Another question was grey eyebrows. So a lot of women said, I have a long grey brow, but if I'm going to plug it, I pluck it. And I was like, no, don't, because that could be covering a gap in your brow. So before you pluck any eyebrow, just make sure, or any hair on your eyebrow, just make sure you pull the hair out just to see if it is covering a gap in your brow, because if you do pluck it, you're left with a gap on your brow. So you can always tint that and get the grey hairs tinted in the salon, or use the eyebrow powder. An eyebrow powder will cover the grey hairs as well. If you have, like, say, wiry, thick brows, where the hair is quite coarse, what you can do is get like a brow gel and just like comb the gel through to set your brow once you have your powder or your pencil on your brow. Another question.
That's really helpful. In fact, I always wish I could take one of the hairs that might be growing out of the chin and put it up there.
I know. Yeah. I know. And that's something, a lot of women would say as well, as we get older, we go through the perimenopause, the menopause, unfortunately, we can like lose hair and gain hair where we don't want it. And we lose hair where we do want it. So the eyebrows as well can become quite sparse when women are going through the menopause and that. So again, you have the outline of your brow. And I suppose, again, the eyebrow tool, the eyebrow tool is very easy to use because you just literally line it up and there's no guesswork. You're just filling in your brow.
And that would probably help you, because I always have this one really crazy, long, gray, wiry one, right? And it gets, of course, it gets way longer and it's strong, more than anything. And that looks like it would be helpful too, to maybe even help trim your brow or a couple of those crazy hairs there as well.
And through the lockdowns, I mean, we've had more lockdowns now than you at this stage. We're pros at the lockdowns here in Ireland, right? We've had like 3, so we're just coming out of our 3rd one. But during the lockdowns, like a lot of the salons are opening now again in about 2 weeks here. But I definitely was recommending to people to color in your brow, and then you can tweeze or wax in and around the brow. But when you're tweezing, it's so easy to get carried away. And in the 80s and the 90s, like the thin brows, and people nearly plucked half their eyebrow away, you get carried away with the tweezers. So a way of not getting carried away is, if the hair, let's say up here, never pluck from the top, right? So if the hair is joined onto the arch of your brow, don't pluck it. But if the hair is there and it's not really making any difference to your brow, pluck it, But underneath here as well, I think a good idea is to outline the brow that you want, and then that stops you from over plucking. And again, it's matching the 2 brows together as well at the same time, that you don't over pluck on one and then you have to match that up, and then you go back and you match that and you end up with no brows at all, And I think that's what happened.
Yeah.
And to people, and to all of us back in the 80s and the 90s, if we're that old, like me.
Or 70s.
So a good idea is to color in the brow that you want and then pluck around that, Make sure you have the shape first. But also what's really important is when you're doing your brows, we've a habit in front of the mirror of raising our brows or making faces in the mirror. So what you do is just relax your face so you have the natural shape of your brow. Don't frown or, whatever, or like do the surprised look when we're putting on lipstick or something. We always tend to make a face as well. So just relax the brow so you get the natural shape of your brow, and then you can't go wrong. So another thing is, another question that came in was, a woman said, if I wear glasses, do I need to worry about my brows? And there was one, how should I shape my brows if I wear glasses? Yeah, that was the one. So when you're wearing glasses, or some people have said to me, oh, I wear glasses, so I don't need to do my brows. But actually, glasses should never cover your brows. So when you're buying, and I remember an optician told me this, if you're buying glasses, you still need to see your brows. If your glasses go over your brows, then the glasses are too big for your face. So you still need to do your brows, even if you do wear glasses, do you know? So plus as well, it just gives more definition as well to the eye. Like the eyebrows are so important for, they're anti-aging. They give you a natural eye lift, you know, even to see, just do one eyebrow and look at the both eyes and you'll see the difference, right? So, and then another one was, how do I know what color to color my brows? Because as I've got older, my color has faded. So a good tip would be go with the color of your hair. So if your hair is like brown, just go with that color, like match it up as best you can. If you're not sure, less is best and go a shade lighter, do you know? But if your hair is gray and you want to color your brow, I'd go for like, you know, a very light brown, but a brown that doesn't have any red in it, do you know? Something that is more like neutral and muted brown, and very lightly, very subtly, but it's all about the shape as well and getting the shape right. So I hope that helps with people. So where should my brow start and finish was another question, and I went through that with the pen again. So I'll just go through it again because it can be kind of like, you know, a bit confusing. So your starts outside of the nostril and up, outside of the nostril up through the iris of your eye is where your arch should be, and then outside of the nostril and through the outside of your eye and up, and that's where your brow should finish. And that's always a good tip to go by. But again, like that's the way where I designed the ID Brow tool, so that it takes all that guesswork out of it. So literally, you just literally line the arch to the arch of your brow, and it takes all that guesswork out. So any more questions? Is that it? I think that's everybody's questions so far. Does anyone else have any questions? Pop them in the comments box if you do. You enjoying your lunch? So yeah, so then the competition, I'm donating like 3 kits. So people just need to donate. Click the donate button, or they can text the text number here that's scrolling down the bottom to donate I was going to say $10, and you're in with a chance to win an ID Brow kit that is valued at $39.99. So the eyebrow powder, again, in the ID Brow kit will last you for at least 12 months because it's quite pigmented. So a little bit is all you need. And yeah. So I guess as well, you know, while everybody, you know, can use my ID Brow kit, the feeling behind creating the ID Brow tool was really to kind of help women to look and feel good, you know, when they're going through a really challenging time in their lives, like cancer. And your workshops are amazing. I'm a volunteer here in Ireland, and to see the transformation in the women who attend the workshops, it's amazing, and it's lovely workshop. They're always it's good fun, you know, the workshops. And
it is. And I have to say, the brows, it seems to be the one topic that everybody, if they didn't know much about it before, as soon as they find their brows again, they seem to find their face again. In fact, I just did one of my brows to make a difference. Look at
you see, there you go. And you're wearing glasses, so there, like, and there's the difference, like, right?
Yeah,
it makes such a difference.
The other one's really tiny, and the other one is
but it really does open the eye. The eyebrows
do have to look up though to the camera, I think, a little bit better. Like, so that probably helps.
And they frame the face and everything else, like, you know, so it's great. And you're right, in the workshops as well, the eyebrows are always a big thing, and I always spend a lot of time talking about brows on the Look Good Feel Better workshops here in Ireland. And you know, it's all through Zoom now, but I remember before COVID happened, doing a workshop and doing a lady's eyebrows, and you know, she got quite emotional about it. And you know, I was like, you know, it really is, it's more, it's skin deep, like, really, you know.
Yes. Well,
And
our
so,
eyebrows do express so much emotion. I mean, that's how people go like they're surprised, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
They're
yeah.
angry, they're quizzical,
Yes.
you know.
Yeah,
They're,
yeah. It's expressions, like it's
I think
expressions.
almost in all animals, including people, that's the case. You know, their little brows are very emotion detecting.
Yeah. And
Motives.
I did see on TikTok there, I was talking the last time on an Instagram live about a TikTok that I saw, and the woman had done her dog's eyebrows. And it was the funniest thing. His face, it was like he was a Labrador, and she stamped on his brows, and his face was just like, what the hell are you doing to me? Like, what the hell is going on? It was the funniest thing. It's on TikTok. I can't remember the handle now, but it's really funny. I think it went
Oh,
viral.
that's funny. I'll have to try that.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, dog. Yeah, I can't imagine me doing my dog now. He wouldn't sit still for 2 minutes, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Oh,
know.
funny. Well, it's very interesting because as we always say too, the brows tend to frame the face somewhat. And that's, I would say, probably one of the most important things that people can do to kind of change their face a little bit and maybe make your stand out a little bit too. Many people, I think years ago, they wouldn't leave the house without lipstick. And
Yeah.
now I think, don't you, it's more like I won't leave the house without eyebrows.
Absolutely. And brows really became big like down through the decades, like the 20s, the 30s, the 40s. Like even in the 20s, it was more like they almost had no eyebrow, but they penciled them in with a very sharp, thin pencil. But then it's interesting to look at brows down through the ages, like in the 40s, the 50s, Liz Taylor time, the real more defined brow, the 60s, the 70s and 80s. The 70s then was kind of more like they didn't really do their brows so much. It was just like they were there. I think the 70s was kind of 60s and 70s all kind of about free and
Blue eyeshadow.
burning the bra and all of that, it was just all that. So then the 80s and the 90s was all about like over plucking the brow then. Well, the 80s actually was more, what's her name, that actress? Oh my God, I can't think of her name, but she'd quite thick brows.
Oh, Brooke Shields.
Brooke Shields, her, yes, yes.
She
So
had
it
the
was
very
the 90s.
natural look, yeah.
Yeah. So the
Eyebrow.
90s then was kind of more like over plucking and just penciling in the brows, like Britney Spears did that, and a lot of the younger girls. So that kind of took that trend off. But then I suppose now we're in 2020 and it's like there's so many different types of brows, there's so many different brow products on the market. So there's no kind of real, perfect brow. It's like whatever brow that you like, you can achieve. Right?
Yeah, and you can change them. I think people feel more creative about it too now for whatever look they're trying to achieve, whether they want to just be natural or get really dramatic. I remember my mother, in fact, like you said, there's so many more tools today and products. I think back when, I remember my mother's red Maybelline kohl like pencil, I think she used for everything. And I'm pretty sure it was only for brows and it was black, just black.
Yes. And actually, I know we're talking about eyebrows, but when you mentioned Maybelline, I was looking into the history of mascaras and that. And Maybelline was the first company to launch the mascara. And he got the idea from his sister, who was called Mabel, and she used Vaseline. So what happened was she singed her eyelashes over the stove. So she was using kohl and Vaseline to color in her brows and her lashes. So that's where he got the idea from. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
There's always a story behind a brand, right?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I know. Yeah.
Everybody's commenting in here too. That's funny. Oh, the red pencil. Wow. Great information. Great. Like they appreciate the glasses part too.
Yeah.
Any questions we might have missed.
Did we miss any questions?
Overplucked. We got that one. Short brows, start to finish, depending on the shape. Oh, is there any kind of, I know, see, I have like for a very high forehead too. And I also have a very high kind of brow bone, I guess, as well. So I don't know if that's something I should look at as well when I'm doing my eyebrows.
Well, I think you're lucky to have a high brow bone because you'll never have hooded eyes.
Okay, that's true.
right? So you have a good space between your brow and your eyelashes. So you've loads of room to create, like, use eyeshadow and all of that. So that's where your brow is started. That's where your brow is where your natural brow shape is, where your brow bone is. So you follow that with your pencil, with your powder, with whatever you use to create your eyebrow. But yeah, so yeah, no, it's perfect for your shaped face. Do you know? Yeah. So usually your brow shape is usually perfect for the shaped face that you have. But if you do want to make them a little bit longer, just make sure, do that trick just to see. And if your brow ends there, then that's where it's supposed to end. Because if you make your brow a little bit longer than that, it's actually aging, believe it or not. Yeah. Yeah, so
that's way over on the side of my head.
Over here, over my ear.
Yeah.
My brows here. But yeah, like, I mean, I think the best thing is to just, less is more, just, and also as well, a lot of women say to me too, when they haven't had a brow or they haven't really focused on their brow, and then they get their brows done, they're like, oh my God, they're standing out like crazy. But it's just that they're just not used to seeing themselves with a stronger brow, or, with a more defined brow. Do you know?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. It just takes a while.
I know somebody asked whether they and I don't remember if you did touch on whether powder is better than gel, or there's also the microblading and things like that too.
Yeah. Well, firstly, like microblading, I've seen some great jobs, and I've seen some really kind of dodgy jobs of a microblading. Okay. We've all seen them. But I think go to somebody who is like highly recommended and highly reputable, and somebody who is artistic, and even like, I think a tattoo artist who has gone into microblading would be a good one, because they're very artistic, they're very creative, they're like on spec. So the brows are so important. And if somebody gets it wrong with the tattooing, like it's terrible for like at least 6 months. You're stuck with a brow that you don't really like. So just make sure that there's somebody that you've seen their previous work as well. Just check them out before you go and do it. But like, yes, you can get great results with microblading, definitely. And what was the other question, Nancy?
I think, and I think it might just be a personal decision, but one might be easier to use than another, like a gel or a powder. And I'm not sure if one's trickier than the other, or maybe you could.
Okay, well, the gels normally, like, if you're putting on any brow powder, just make sure that the skin that you're putting it on, that when you're putting on your foundation, that you make sure you powder it well, so that the powder or the gel will grab onto the hairs properly, right? Or that the powder, if you've no eyebrow, that the powder will stay on. If you've no brows, a powder is better to use than a gel, because a gel could slide off your face. The powder, like the powder in my ID Brow Kit, I did an awful lot of research in it. It's waterproof, it's mineral based, it doesn't smudge,
You could have a Rudy Giuliani effect of dripping.
Yeah. And when you're on chemotherapy as well, that can happen. You can sweat a lot. So that you need a powder that will stay on, So I think definitely, but a gel, you can use a gel then over the powder if you want, like a setting gel for the brows. As I said earlier, if your brows are kind of unruly, just to kind of set them in place, you can use the eyebrow gel.
Okay. Well, I think if there's any other questions real quick, we're going to probably wrap this up. I love this. No dogs were harmed during this awesome presentation.
I know, yeah. And like, if anyone has any questions afterwards, just pop them in the comments box on the post, because you're saving this, right, to Facebook?
Yes, we are.
And I can answer them then through that as well,
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Thérèse. This has been fabulous. So much fun.
I know.
I know that. I hope other people have too. And on behalf of our entire Look Good, Feel Better family with Choice is one. We're an international group. We're
I know.
everywhere.
And I hope people understood me, because like I have a tendency, I suppose we have a tendency here to speak really quickly in Southern Ireland.
But very clearly. It was very clear.
Okay, good. I hope people heard me.
Well, we're so grateful that you would share your time and talent with us today. It was fabulous. And don't forget, everybody, we have more goodies like this coming up all month long. So check out our social pages as well as our website for our schedule. And you can even set a little calendar reminder and everything to join us, so you don't forget. We're trying to have them all during lunchtime, or of course, or coffee time on the Pacific Coast. Just remember that we also have this weekly raffle going on, especially the special raffle today as well, for everybody who is attending and donating. Just please, we do need your support though. A $10 donation enters you to win a Blinks and Brows ID brow kit, as well as put you into the raffle this week too. So we're doing, like I said, fabulous prizes. Feel good to 44321, or you could click on the donate button on Facebook too. And we also have a donate button on our website. So don't forget to leave your email address though. People forget that, and then we can't get in touch with you. So make sure during the process you leave your email address. Thank you all for joining us. It's been wonderful. And please make sure to tune into the next Look Good, Feel Better session, and spread the word, spread the love, spread the right?
Spread the brows.
Spread the brows.
Have a great day. Yeah, have a great day.
Bye, everybody.